Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, June 16th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we were looking at TSLL, and this thing will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched the past videos, but if you have, hopefully you remember me talking about this bull flag pattern, and you can see this morning started off at the bottom part of the pattern, came up to the top part, and then got the breakout. So just the beautiful bull flag breakout. So that's just the general context of it all right now. And we'll get rid of the pattern now as it served its purpose and get some new updates made. But fantastic technical pattern breakout on the day. Great way to close out the week. Now, as far as new key levels to watch moving forward into Monday, first key level to watch is going to be that upper resistance line right there. Keep an eye on that. Now, if the price goes up there and breaks through it, don't get me wrong, that is a good thing. I just personally want to get too overly excited about it because not that far away, you then have that pink line there, the 200 period moving average, right now valued at 1373, which is not guaranteed to act as resistance, but it could very well plausibly. So, you just don't want to get overly excited about it and then all of a sudden have to get smacked back down by that. But now if the price breaks through the red line and then breaks through the pink line at that point, that would be a very, very impressive bullish situation. So all in all, though, got the bull flag breakout. The price is now trying to, kind of gear up to maybe do battle with these couple levels next week. So we'll see how it goes. Next one, ticker symbol RBNE. And we have some well-defined areas here. So let's get these mapped out. First key level of resistance, just where it seems as though the sellers are hanging out right around that $19.20 mark. I say right around because I realized a couple times the price went it slightly above it. Other times the price didn't quite hit it. And then right there, the price got smacked right there at that level. But regardless, right there around that $19.20 area is going to be the first key battleground to watch. And then as far as trend lines are concerned, we have a nice little support trend line right there. And then if we convert this into the overall pattern, so let me keep it the same color to hopefully make it easier to see. But we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. We have the big upwards move right here. For you golfers, make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to head back upwards, but certainly more than plausible to think that the price putzes around, eventually works its way up here and gets the break, that break could very well generate additional buying pressure. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but certainly a more than valid question to throw out there as a possibility. So if you like bull pennant patterns, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, OP, and overall just a monster move. You can see right here, volume has been strong, and as I speak right now, a good final 30 minutes. So not a whole lot can really be said from a chart standpoint, but the ingredients are there for a worthwhile trading situation. Those ingredients being you want to see something that can make movements, right? If something barely budges, you can't really day trade it or trade it at all. But here we have the movement, and then you also want good solid volume, and this one's had volume, but like I said, right there, it's you can see the volume pouring back in this afternoon. So next week, and I'm not saying this will occur, but just for example's sake, I don't know, maybe the price pulls back here a little bit. And if the price were to pull back at that point, you could, do something like this, draw something like that and say, okay, now we have a bull flag pattern. Again, I'm not saying that's going to occur, but just illustrating that as of right now, you still got to wait for some sort of pattern to really form. But yes, there's no doubt about it. This thing is booming. This thing has a volume pouring in. So the market still doesn't close for another about 14 minutes. So this volume bar, I expect, is going to get even bigger. So it'll be interesting to see where this thing ultimately closes. But like I said, the ingredients are there for next week. Good solid volume, great price movement. So if you like this price range, certainly keep it on your radar. Next one here is CGBS. And now this one's a little tricky to talk about because it's all about perspective. Meaning if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there, maybe you bought that breakout right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes. Well, then from that standpoint, the chart's looking pretty rough because there has been an overall pullback. With that being said, if you care about the grand scheme of things, everything is still perfectly fine. Now, I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, let's say the price pulls back a bit more and comes down here to, 0.107. Again, not saying it'll occur, but for example's sake. So price comes down here, behaves like this, and then starts to curl back upwards. Now, emphasis here on big picture. From the big picture perspective, what do you have? Well, you have a set of lows here. you have lows here, you have lows down here, and if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture perspective, you'd still very clearly have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction, and that's what you want, assuming you care about the grand scope of things. Again, I understand if you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about these stair steps. That's why I'm trying to make the distinction between more of a day trader versus somebody that cares about the bigger picture point of view. But yes, if you care about the grand scheme of it all, even with the bigger pullback today, there's still plenty of opportunity to build that higher base. Next one, HCTI, and unfortunately the bears took a big bite out of this one today. It had a good solid bull pennant going into the day. So you can see the bull pennant right there. And then ultimately did get the breakdown through it. Now, does that mean the entire chart's destroyed? It doesn't. And why I say that is because the price is still nicely above two of the key moving averages, namely that purple line right there, that 50-period moving average right now valued at 0.0178. Now, if next week the price drops down to that purple line and starts to push to the downside, at that point, it starts to become way more sketchy. Right now, sure, it's not nearly as attractive as a chart as it was, but I also would not, I don't think it's fair to say that the entire chart's destroyed because, it is still up above not only the 200-period moving average, but the 50-period. But definitely, in my opinion, at least the conversation certainly starts to change if next week the price breaks down below the purple line and then worse yet, starts to separate to the downside of it. Again, not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why, in my opinion, that purple line, very, very important headed into next week. So we'll see what happens with it. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description area, or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage there that you can click on. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one, NVDA, and rough day today, especially when you factor in that yesterday the price basically closed right at the key level of resistance that we've been talking about, right up there at 145. But you can see here the price has been up there several times and it's been rejected, and this was no different. Now, this was the biggest rejection, but pretty wild to see that rejection. Came all the way down here, broke through that level. I'm going to get rid of that level. But in the very near term, before we really put any sort more focus on 145 as resistance, the newest key level is that purple line there, the 50-period moving average. And you can see here, after the price got below it, try to get above it, rejected. Look at all this, 4 times in a row, try to get above it, rejected. So that's not to say that the price can never get above that purple line. I'm just saying that before you really put any more emphasis or attention on 145, the price first needs to, quote-unquote, prove itself in the near term, and prove itself being defined as getting up above that 50-period moving average. In terms of areas of support, main battleground to watch next week, I think from the support standpoint, is going to be that 200-period moving average, so you're going to want to keep a close eye on that, which is right now valued at 139. We'll call it 65. And if somehow the price comes down here next week and breaks below there, again, I'm still not going to say NVIDIA chart's destroyed, but things would certainly start to look a little bit more shaky at that point. So overall, though, not the greatest way to end the week, but it is what it is. Next one here, USEG, and a nice interesting pattern here. I always like these that start strong, and then you get the pullback, and then it becomes one of those situations where, was this just a gap and trap? Was this just a pump and dump? And then all of a sudden you get an answer, and it's like, seemingly no. And I say that because, well, the price has started to go sideways, and you can see it leveled out right there. Now, let me be very clear, and I wish I could say trading was this easy. Just because there is this big pullback and just because the price went sideways does not mean that for sure, guaranteed, without question, this thing is done and it's headed back up. No guarantees, but it's way more plausible now to throw that out there as a suggestion. In terms of areas of resistance, I think that level there makes a whole lot of sense. So keep an eye on that. And again, no guarantees, but a good high volume break of that level does that, bring the price back up to these highs right here. I think there's a possibility of that, but again, that would have to be a good high volume break of that area right there. But all in all, certainly an interesting situation and pattern. And if you like these patterns, you like this price range down below $5, definitely get it on your radar. Next one, PLTR, good solid move on this one. And now you got to think everybody and their brother's uncle is going to be looking at this level here headed into next week, right up there at about 139.75. Not a great discovery on my part at all. Got to think that a lot of people have noticed how the price got rejected from it right there and then found some resistance right around there. So definitely keep a close eye on that area here, which again, 139.75 as that main battleground point. In terms of areas of support, ideally speaking, If the price can continue to stay above that purple line, that's going to make the chart look the strongest. So yes, this is some great movement right here. Went slightly below it, but that didn't last very long, and then up the price it went from there. Now, if the price does drop below the purple line, that doesn't mean anything in terms of the chart being destroyed. But a much more important level would be that pink line down there, 200 period moving average. But as of right now, price isn't anywhere close to it. But still, if the price were to come down to there and then start to break down below it, that's where the conversation begins to change of, okay, maybe the bulls are starting to lose their grip on things. But as of right now, this looks totally healthy in the bulls' favor. Next one here, we have APLD, and I think this is, at least in my opinion, a very straightforward chart from a technical standpoint headed into next week. So I'm going to go through this quickly because there's no need to really overcomplicate it. But from a technical level, I think there's two main levels that matter. First level that matters from the resistance standpoint is that purple line there, you now know, is the 50 period moving average. And the other level that matters is the 200 period moving average, that pink line right there. And if we just use these moving averages as our quote-unquote trend lines, then what we essentially have next week is we have this wedge pattern that is forming. So within the wedge, it just becomes a very basic question of, okay, who is ultimately going to win this battle? Are the bulls going to win the battle with a break to the upside? Are the bears going to win the battle with a break to the downside? That is the question. So grab your popcorn and let's see how this question plays out next week. Next one here, TSLA, and maybe you're going to see right where I go to this one. But yes, key area of resistance that everybody and their brother's uncle is going to be watching next week on Tesla is indeed going to be that pink line, which you now know is the 200 period moving average. You can see right there, rejected the price. That price never really touched it right there, but right there, boom, rejected it back down. So not saying that the price cannot break through that level, but it just become very apparent that that is going to be public enemy number one. Current value of that, we'll call it 333.15. So keep a close eye on that level. And then in terms of areas of support, if the price can continue to stay above that purple line, that would by far make the chart look the healthiest, but by no means would I call that some sort of do or die level or anything like that. A way more important area of support, if it were to come into play, is down there at 313, because if the price were to go down to 313 and then break down below there, at that point you start to kind of enter into this big old kind of no man's land of the chart, and that's not necessarily a good thing from a bullish standpoint. But as right now, price isn't anywhere close to that level. So yeah, we'll see if the price can curl back upwards and get to the break up through that level. And if it does, you could very well see that generating a whole another round of upwards momentum. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, June 19th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy, make sure you hit that like button. And also be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I have been live streaming. So if you're interested in seeing me trade live, come hang out, ask me questions. Then, like I said, make sure to check out the live stream and you'll be notified when I do go live by not only subscribing, but then hitting that notification bell. So make sure to do that also. So thanks for watching. Everybody have a great weekend. And for you dads out there, have a happy Father's Day.